Hey guys, so today we're doing inequalities. So a couple things before we dive into a problem, but an inequality can be four things. So we have this one, which is greater than, which when you graph it on the number line, it's going to be an open circle because it just means it's greater than, it's not including that number. And then we have less than, and less than is also an open circle. Again, when you graph it on the number line, it does not include that number. Then we have greater than or equal to. This means or equal to, so you can have that number as well as anything above it, and you're going to have a closed circle, so it includes that number. Less than or equal to, anything less than, and then equal to the number. So let's do a couple of examples. So let's say that we have x is greater than 3. So I'm going to draw my number line. Okay, and I'm going to write 3, and I'm going to do 1 below and 1 above. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect if you're hand drawing it. Now, because it's just greater than, it's going to be an open circle. But the tricky part right here is, where do you shade? Now, I know that people know the trick, like if the arrow points, I'm going to shade that way, but I don't want you to get in that habit always. I want you to check it. So what I mean by that is I'm going to use the numbers on either side. So I'm going to write in 2. I'm going to substitute a 2 in for x. Is 2 greater than 3? No, that doesn't make any sense. But 4 is greater than 3. So I'm going to shade that way. And again, I'm just checking to make sure my shading is correct because that trick doesn't always work. So I want you to check it. Okay? So again, I just used either number on either side. Example 2. Let's cover up this example. X is less than or equal to 6. So I'm going to draw my number line. And then I'm going to pick a number below and above. So I'm going to have 5, 6, and 7. Okay, now if I look, I have less than or equal to. So it has that equal to, so it's close. And now I'm going to check where I shade. Is 5 less than or equal to 6? 100%. That checks out, so I'm going to shade that way. Okay. Again, I just want you to double check it to make sure because it's not always going to work out when you get into higher math. Next example, which is not even on this page. Okay, example 3. I know that there's some words here, but don't worry, it's not a word problem. The next one is, this one isn't. So graph the inequality -3 less than or equal to x, and x is less than 6, and explain the difference between open and closed circle when graphing on the number line. Well, first, before I do anything, I'm going to write my numbers on the number line, and I'm going to start with -3 because this is on the left-hand side. And I'm just going to work my way down. So -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, if I look, this is less than or equal to, so this one's going to be closed. And on -3, I'm going to make a closed circle. Okay, and I'm going to say -3 is closed because less than or equal to. Now, if I look at that 6, it says less than 6. So if it's less than, it's open. Okay, and then 6 is open because, sorry guys, that's a weird A. Less than. Now for the shading for this one is you can pick any number in between to see if this works, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to pick in 0 because 0 is a nice number. -3 is less than or equal to 0, which is less than 6. -3 is less than 0. Yep. 0 is less than 6. Yep. That checks out, so that means you shade in the middle. And I'm going to write a check mark. Okay? That just means that's an and statement, so you're going to shade in the middle. In the middle. Our last example, which is a word problem, and I'm going to read it first, and then we'll underline like we typically do. So, Molly plans to buy pencils and a notebook at the school store. A pencil costs 15 cents and a notebook costs $1.59. Molly has $5. Write in inequality she could use to find the number of pencils she can buy. Now let's go back and underline what we have here. Molly plans to buy pencils and a notebook at the school store. There's nothing really important in that sentence, so we're not going to underline anything. A pencil cost 15 cents. That's important. And a notebook cost $1.59. That's important. Molly has $5. Write in inequality, so I'm going to underline that part. She could use to find the number of pencils she can buy. Now, it doesn't say to solve, it just says to write it. Now, one thing to note is Molly has $5, $5. That means she cannot spend any more. She can spend less, but she can't spend more. So I know I'm going to have the inequality end up with $5. Okay? Again, it has to be $5. And because it's $5, she can spend less than $5, but she cannot spend more than $5. And she can spend $5 too. It's going to be less than or equal to. Okay? Because she's got cash. She's not going into any debt. Now, if we go back, she plans to buy pencils with an S. So that means multiple pencils. And pencils are 15 cents a piece. But we don't know how many pencils she's going to buy, so I'm going to write X. You can write P. You can use any variable you want. I'm using X. And then we know that she's buying a notebook, and a notebook costs $1.59. You don't need a variable with that one because she's buying a notebook. They said she's buying one notebook, not multiple notebooks. So we leave it like that. We don't have to solve for it because it doesn't ask for us to. It just says to write the inequality. Okay? One thing to remember about inequalities for our recap. Greater than, open circle. Less than, open circle. Greater than or equal to, close circle. Less than or equal to, close circle. Make sure you have that in your notes and it's highlighted so you can go back and review it because it's not going away.